Hi there, it's Carol King, the developer and founder of Custom Homebuilders Solutions software, also known as CHS, a very robust accounting and job costing software designed specifically for custom home builders. Somebody quoted to me the other day to say, if you want the best software tailored for custom home builders, you need CHS. I'm going to do this as fast as I can, as if I'm sitting in front of you just telling you about CHS really quickly and what it's going to kick out for you, so that you don't have to do all those spreadsheets. I worked as a controller in the back office of Custom Home Builder for a number of years. I was constantly frustrated with the generic software I was using, even though I tweaked it to make it work really well for me and did massive spreadsheets, but I was constantly frustrated by having to do all of those spreadsheets all of the time. So I started writing a software, a bunch of builders got interested in it, and 20 years later it's being used across the country. So I'm very proud of it. It's very stable. I get lots of kudos about it and being told that it's their best kept secret. So let's get on with just showing you some of the things real quickly. First of all, notice I'm on the home main menu of CHS. It's a colored menu. You can get it in plain color if you like. And you expand things, but I'd like you to really understand that you would be replacing your accounting software with CHS. Notice how that you can post new payables and charges. You can select unpaid payables and then print checks. You can look at all your payables records. You have general ledgers and financials and financial statements, all sorts of things like that, charts of accounts that you set up. But this is also a job costing program, so there's a place where the home builder hopefully is setting up something called cost codes. That's not the accounting general ledger numbers, it's the cost codes. And we let you load the NAHB recommended set of cost codes, and that's cost centers like roofing, framing, plumbing, etc. And you can set up items behind those cost codes. Please look in our seminar tutorials for a whole bunch more detail about all of this. So we come in, we set up these cost code centers, then we prepare, set up a job, maybe give it specs, do all sorts of things. Then you do a budget estimate for it, which you can do awesome ones inside CHS. Let me see if I can show you one real quickly. I'm going to insert a piece from the next video that I'll be doing that I've already done actually. I'm going to do a budget for a job that's a cost plus builder fee that one of my builders let me have to show you. This person has entered links to bids from Outdoor Design, I believe, right here. It's the original bid from them. So if you send this budget to one of your home buyers and you're being all open and transparent with them, you could be like this builder and just write all kinds of notes to the buyer. For the slab contract, it looks like he uploaded a copy of the plans for the buyer. That's just your choice. You can upload whatever it is you want to attach here that would show up on the budget along with all of your notes. Now this I'm showing you so that you will understand what powerful budget proposals CHS can prepare, and that you control what title. You might have one called proposal something up here. You can also add header text in here around the job to give them a description of what this is about. I think he puts notes at the bottom in the footer, and this comes down and it's a cost plus builder fee. Alright, let's realize that you can set up job budgets, and the first button that a lot of people do when they come here is something called Active Jobs Dashboard, because they're working on a whole bunch of things for one job. And I have a demo job called Smith John going on that I'm always using for all these demos, so pay no attention to the dates. But you can see that once I selected it, I see who the builder is, this and that. I can see that it's a cost plus fee job. CHS is really smart about knowing whether it's fixed, cost plus fee, or cost plus markup. And you'll see that in all the various videos. But one thing I wanted to show you is how quickly CHS is going out and gathering things like your original budget estimate for your various cost centers. Like I said, you can tweak these to be whatever you like for yourself, your cost centers. It's gathering the estimated cost of change orders. Way down here somewhere there's some change orders, and you can drill down on all these things to see the detail behind it. It's showing you various POs that are issued, and it's bringing in actual costs that have been posted in payables. And this one is checkmarked to use this as the ECC. This one's checkmarked to use this actual as the ECC, which means what you're estimating your cost at completion to be today. And you use this every day to see how you are going over or under your original budget right down here. And you can drill down on all kinds of things like notes about why this is over and why it's not. This one is showing under because it was originally budgeted at $2,500, but they did bills. You can drill down on the bills and see the detail of the bills. behind every one of these. And then you could say, I'm not going to get any more, and check mark it, so your ECC becomes $2,300. If you issue a PO for higher than your budget somewhere, let me see if I see one here. Here's one where POs were issued for higher. You can drill down on notes to figure out why it's just like $10 higher for whatever reason. You can see those numbers in red. By the way, you can do searches and say, I just only want to see the lines that are over or under budget. You'll see that in another video. You get all sorts of ECC tools and reports, and you can constantly update this. It's updating itself. It's bringing in all of these things and calculating what your current ECC is, but you can control it. For example, if you issue a PO for less, like right here, they check mark, say use the PO for the ECC rather than the budget. You control this. It's something you come to every day, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is. Now look at the other thing it's showing you up here. What your original budget was, the original price you guessed it would be, it was cost plus your original profit, what your revised profit is right now, which is higher even though your costs are higher. And you can do things like drill down and say, why is the profit higher? Which on a cost plus builder fee, that probably means there's some change order fees. This is the amount of the fees that you charged on a change order. You can see the original estimated cost, then the CO price, and the difference in that is the fees, and so that's added to a cost plus builder fee. If this was a fixed contract and it was marked as fixed contract, you'd be seeing the current price here less the minus the budget, and then over here you'd see plus change order prices and plus any allowance overages if you have an allowance agreement. Be sure to check into that. And on a cost plus builder fee, a profit difference will probably always just be, besides your original builder fee you agreed on, would be the fees from some change orders. So you kind of get that and how fast you can take a look at that. Another really great thing about CHS is it can track cash by job, whether you use one checking account for all your jobs or multiple ones, or whatever you do. You can drill down really fast and see a breakdown of what accounts were used. You can drill down on the deposits and the monies received for this job. You can drill down on the payables that have been entered for this job and see which checking account they were taken out of. You can also see which things you paid by credit card for this job, and CHS takes that out of your cash too, because when you pay one big lump sum to the credit card, part of it will have already been allocated to this job. Hopefully, accountants will enjoy having this. You can do reports of this and see this exact thing, but this is your active screen where you can drill down on what's behind, how it's calculating the cash. Then you can see right away what has been posted as accounts payable bills that have not been paid yet for this job, and you can see right away how much would be available after you paid those bills and whether you need to go do a draw request. And let me emphasize, CHS will produce cost plus draw requests for you that pull in the undrawn costs for each draw, and you can select or unselect costs that have been posted if you don't want them on there, and then it produces it right away for you. Just imagine all that billing week that you're trying to do to gather all the costs and then do some draw requests. It also has draw requests for fixed contract, which means you can enter percents. It shows you what your original marked up budget is and lets you draw on percents of those, but it also gives you some clues by showing you right away how much costs have been posted for each cost center, so you can calculate a percent if you want to use the cost to budget. Just to let you know that's there. I'm not going to get all carried away going there with that. So what I'd like to show you is things that CHS is kicking out. First of all, back on the home main menu, there's something called Owner Review. This program was written for the builder to put hands on and pay attention to where the gross profit is heading on jobs, be able to see that estimated cost at completion, do some communication, get online and approve bills to be paid, overhead bills, etc. And by the way, the field can approve bills to be paid. They can drill down to copies of the bill that the bookkeeper uploads. They can drill down to notes that the bookkeeper wrote to them about how they got an overage alert when they were entering the bill, or other information like we need to get their insurance certificate. And by the way, CHS will warn if the general liability is expired for a vendor when you're entering a bill that you set up that says vendor liability is required. You can send an instant request via our comments back and forth to the vendor requesting their certificate. They can return it through our portal, and you can upload it and update the expiration date. And CHS, let me just show you since I'm off on that, we'll put out general liability insurance audit reports. You can pause this a minute, that you can hand to your insurance auditor, and I hear from all kinds of builders that insurance auditor just walks in and says, "Oh good, you have CHS, give me those reports." By the way, when they uploaded a copy of the insurance certificate from this vendor, CHS will print a link to be able to open a copy of that certificate right there. And so if you sent a PDF report like this so that they get it electronically and can open the PDF in their reader, that insurance auditor, if you uploaded a certificate for everybody, would have a link to every single insurance certificate. Isn't that cool? So let's just head on from here, since I got sidetracked for a minute. This is a list of all the open active jobs that have a budget or estimate and have a contract price set, because we need all of that before we can calculate your original estimated profit, your profit difference right now. This is the same drill down that I did a minute ago. You can see if you drill down to something that's a fixed contract, you can see what I told you about the difference in that calculation of the revised contract price. Notice that this is fixed. It has the fixed price that was entered. It has the total prices of change orders and an allowance adjustment, which please again watch our allowance things. And you can get quick contract balance reports all over the place about how much they have paid you so far and how much the contract balance is today based on the revised price. So that's pretty cool. Now I'd like you to think for a minute how many Excel spreadsheets you would have to do to come up with what the current estimated cost at completion is, so that you can get a current estimated profit. Then put all these together in some list. Then go out and figure all the cash stuff for every single job. Somehow come up with balances without doing a bunch of spreadsheets. CHS is doing this for you, and it's showing you all the ECCs. You can drill down on those ECC worksheets for each job, drill down on the detail behind the cash, behind the open payables, etc., etc. So this is this awesome screen for the owner to put hands on and see what's happening with all the jobs. And if the owner can't get on for some reason and needs to have a report or print a report for themselves, there's a button here where CHS gathers all of that together, all of this that you're seeing together on an awesome report that you can see right here. Notice how these are separated into jobs that are cost plus fee and fixed, and if we had some cost plus markup, there might be another section here. And look how it's gathered everything that was on that screen: the original price, the original estimated profit, the revised price, the revised estimated profit, how much revenues have been received, revenues remaining to receive, how much actual job costs have actually been paid, so the costs remaining to pay based on the current estimated cost at completion minus the paid ones, and then the remaining net cash due in or out to the end of the job. And then there's that section about the cash for each job, the cash balance, how much unpaid payables are out there and posted right now, and the job cash available. So let me just close that. I'd like to go back to the jobs dashboard. You can create POs, which I highly recommend. Please watch our videos about how strong those are for communication between your field, your back office, and everybody else, including the vendors, of course, for how much you're going to pay, who you're going to pay, how you can print a list of vendors to use based on POs and send that to the field, make file labels for those. You can actually drill down and see the POs versus costs, and the field can get on and mark whether the work is done, so that actually a bookkeeper can come along, open this screen, and create bills from POs where the work has been marked as done. You see how there's create bill. And if they wanted you to deduct something from the bill, the field will not only check mark this that work is done, but they might write some notes and also type in an amount to deduct before that bill is created, the accounts payable bill. It's going to take all those numbers into the accounts payable screen for you and make it really handy. Or you can just open the accounts payable window from scratch and then select a PO there to get everything filled in. But it cuts down on having to route around that stack of bills where somebody's trying to code things, especially if you use POs, because the cost code's already there when you enter a purchase order, and then it's here for the bookkeeper to access and everybody else to access. Now the other cool thing, another reason that you don't have to route around stacks of bills, is there's a screen for the field to be able to go and look at unpaid payables for the job. They can see that there's been a comment from the bookkeeper here, and I think I already opened a thing of that comment, where the bookkeeper is saying total invoice with sales tax is over budget. The bookkeeper got warned when they were entering the bill, and right away they wrote a note so that the field would see it when they were in here approving. They'd see that there was a green thing here. You can drill down on the ECC that we were looking at for this cost center, POs versus costs. If it says yes for PO, you can see the actual PO issued. And if they had uploaded and attached the copies of the bills, let me see if I can give you an example of some other job that I have done and look at the approved, posted, unpaid job costs for that, because I think there's something I had uploaded. But you can see paperclip icons right here on this, and notice how this field has checkmarked these as okay to pay. Now the fields, you'll probably give them a permission level in CHS so that they can't see overhead bills or just job cost bills that goes with jobs they're working on. And you can see that if I click that paperclip icon and open that, that's a bill from SunWest Tile. So see, they have everything they need there, and they don't have to route around a stack of bills or come into the office. You need to keep that project manager on your site is one of my goals. The other thing is, let's leave all that. You can see how we're doing actual job cost databases and being able to drill down on reports of those. You can drill down on reports and select different kinds. This one shows the initial cost, and it shows a marked up amount for this. Now if you're doing a cost plus markup job, that can be really interesting for somebody to be able to see what markup percent was put on these various costs as you posted them. You can get so many reports, which I will demonstrate by going to Report Central for this job. There are so many things you can get. You can print out your budget. You can print out a weekly stage status report, which a lot of builders use, which shows the last so many weeks and what stage each job is in. Allowance reports to analyze the over-under and the initial allowance agreement you made with the customer. Change order reports. Change orders and payments, approved change orders, lists and detail of those, purchase orders and comparisons to costs, those actual job cost report like I just showed you, vendors to use or used. At the end of the job, you might print a list of vendors used with their names and address and stuff to give to the home buyer. This will give you reports of that ECC worksheet that we saw. You can do it with notes or with all notes, internal notes that you have. Variance cost approval report is actually sort of a Bible of all of it, which means that the reason it's called cost approval is not only is it showing you the estimated cost at completion line like the slab contract, but it's also showing you all the bills and whether they've been paid or whether they're unpaid. You would see in red, this one's unpaid framing labor. It's giving you all the details behind each of those cost centers, which is pretty awesome. You can also get that contract balance report, estimated profit and remaining dollars, list of the revenues received from the customer. So let me go back to that Smith job and I'll show you one more quick thing. Let's go back to Smith. Do you ever have that home buyer or somebody else pay the costs for you where you're not actually doing the check for it? So let's go to Report Central for Smith John and look at the revenues. Let's do revenues received. I wanted to show you something. Smith John has had several interim draws, had their initial down payment. Something that we call, or I was told to call, paid voucher clearing. Would say the customer pays for something and you don't pay for it, but you want it to be on your job cost reports, and then you want to also acknowledge it as revenues from the customer. So CHS will take care of that behind the scenes, and that's why it's added to a revenues report here. And you would find these various costs that were paid on the job cost report, so they offset each other and sort of come out to zero and don't affect your cash account. Now I'd like you to know that CHS is so powerful that it can produce a trial balance for a job, show all the balances in each account for just that job. You can do little income statements for a job or for a department or division, cash flow reports, various things, accounting ledgers that you can drill down on and see all the GL accounts and all the detail for just this job. This is Report Central for this job. Before I get off that trial balance stuff, I want to show you the powerful report that CPAs really like to see. Let's say you're doing it at year end and you might type that in, but I'm just going to do today. And I want to look at an active list. There's also a report of this. This is a work in progress account on the balance sheet that NAHB has, but you might have something else called work in progress. Didn't matter. This is going to show you all your GL accounts and how much is in each account for each job, which is a big deal that I used to have to do all the time to figure out closing jobs. And by the way, CHS gives you a job closing screen that will bring in the balances for you from your liability and asset accounts, your balance sheet accounts, so that you can quickly make a journal entry to move all those to sales and cost of sales if you're on a completed contract method. It also will handle percentage of completion, which is a complicated thing I used to do each year, and go out and calculate how much you earned during this past month based on how much cost you posted, give you all those numbers, and give you a screen to quickly make a journal entry for percentage of completion every single month. Percentage of completion actually is a method of accounting that consultants usually recommend. But notice how you could drill down on all the costs here and the detail behind the costs. Here's the detail of things that have been posted to that general ledger account for Smith John. This is barely touched on everything that CHS has. I've talked as fast as I can to just pique your interest in all of the things that CHS is doing for you. You can produce waivers of lien even if you pay for multiple jobs on one check. CHS will split those and allow you to do waivers of lien for how much is for each job on the checks. But it can really do all of these things. You can set up your chart of accounts or load the recommended NAHB one and tweak it, and so on. You can pay things, post accounts payable, job costs, etc. Post them as paid by credit card instead of printing checks for them. And CHS will give you ledgers and show you how much has been posted to a certain job underneath a credit card ledger, so that you can pay Joe the plumber with a credit card and still also get a vendor ledger of what's been paid either by check or by credit card or some other way. So I'd like you to know, basically, bottom line, how much CHS does for you, and hopefully during this video you got a sense of how many spreadsheets you wouldn't have to make anymore. So anyway, please watch our various other introductory videos, and don't overlook the fact that I have a full seminar from when I used to do seminars for 2 or 3 days that gives a whole lot more detail about all of this stuff that I just tried to show you as quickly as I could. Thank you so much for watching.